Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In this session recording, we are going to take a general overview of animations based on the Autodesk Certified User Exam objectives. So we will make sure that everything is covered and understood by you. We already had several parts of animation recordings to explain several topics. So first of all, we are going to start with 7.1, in which you need to know how to use the time slider and set the time configuration settings. Configuration settings, including set keyframe using auto key and set key mode, change time slider range, preview animation, and adjust the time setting configuration. We already did all of these, but we are gonna redo it again as a review to make sure that you know them and you are ready for the exam if you are planning to apply for it. So this may include setting a keyframe, moving, manipulating, removing, and locating the value in the time slider. So we're going to create animation first of all using the set key mode. I have already these circles. I created them and I will use them to change the key tangent types later on. But for now, I will just turn the auto key mode on and I will move it to the other side. Sorry, before of that, you need to move your time slider, and then I'm not going to press shift, sorry, I will move it. It's going to move along x-axis only because I am clicking the x-axis. You can set the value actually here to be 160 because I'm moving from -160 to 160. You see, since you are hitting or activating the auto key mode, the first key is automatically created and the second key is automatically created as well. When you finish, you turn this off. So you can play the animation as you can see here. Okay, the second animation I'm gonna creating it using a set key mode. With the set key mode, if you remember, you need to click to set the key. Sorry, I'm gonna undo. I need to click this sphere here. I will set key, okay, and I will move it. Again, you need to move the timeline first. Change the value to 160 and then you set the key again. So this is going to be your animation as you can see here. Play. So set key mode is usually useful for any character animation if you want to create precise posing or if you want to create your animation manually. The auto key mode is the most commonly used and it's faster, easier, okay? But you need to be careful, as we said before, because when you are activating the auto key mode, any change over time you do will record an animation, even if it's one frame different than the previous frame or the next frame. Okay. So now, what if I just selected this and moved my keyframe here to 50? As you can see now, I can move it like this. So now I edited. You need to know how to manipulate keyframes. You see, I moved the keyframe using the time slider. Of course, when you click the keyframe, you see here are the values of the X, Y, and Z. I can just change this to 0 and this is going to change. You see, I can change it. I can change it to 160 as well. If you want to copy or duplicate the keyframe, you simply click the keyframe, press shift and hold, and then move the keyframe, and now this is going to create this kind of animation. You see the red circle will go all the way to the end, then it will go back all the way to the beginning. Okay, so if you want to delete, you can just select the keyframe and hit delete key from the keyboard. Okay, so this covers everything here: setting a keyframe, moving, manipulating, removing, and locating the value of the keyframe. How do we change the time slider and preview the animation? Basically, we can do all the time configuration settings from this time configuration button. It's going to open the time configuration in which we can change the frame rate, the NTSC, which is 30 FPS, PAL 25 FPS, 24 FPS, and this is custom where you can set your custom FPS. Okay, you can change how to display the frames or as MPT or frames per tick, so on. You can set the real-time active viewport only loop. You can turn the loop off if you want. Okay, when this real time is set, the animation will be played and no keyframes or no frames will be escaped. It will slow down and gets faster. It depends on your computer, but the program will not skip any keyframes. Okay, and of course you can rescale the animation frames here, the range. From here you can just change the range to 200, and this is going to change it without affecting the original keyframes. But if you want to rescale it, if you want to rescale it, you can go to rescale time and then change this to 200, and this is going to rescale your keyframes with the range. You see now it's not 0, 50, 100, it's 0, 100, 200. So it depends whether you want to rescale or you want to add extra keyframes only. I'm gonna undo everything, and now I will just move this again to 100, so the red and blue, they move to the same location. And of course I can do the same thing for all other spheres. As you will see, I will now turn the auto key mode and I will go all the way to the end. I will select all of those and I will type here 160 only, and that's it. Now I created identical animation for all my spheres, and we are gonna see the difference between each one of those. You see, I already renamed them to fast, linear, slow, smooth, and step. Each one will represent a tangent type, as you will see later on shortly in this recording. So now we finished 7.1. 7.2 is gonna dedicated to demonstrate how to animate an object along a path. We are going to start by creating a spline or curve, then animate along it, then demonstrate how to control the object axis and banking, then manipulating an object along the path, including changing the spline curve. So what I'm going to do is I will create another object. Let me create a teapot here. Okay, again, I'm just using a teapot because we can rotate it along the path easily. And now I will create a spline curve. Okay, I'm gonna click here, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, and this is going to be the right click. Okay, I will manipulate it, edit it. Actually, first of all, I need to go to the interpolation, not to the rendering. Sorry, to the interpolation. It is. Okay, where can I find it? Yeah, it's down here. Adaptive. Now let's just go and change everything else. Let me just go and edit this a little bit. I'm gonna make it Bezier. Yeah, it is Bezier already. Click here so I can select X and Y. And then this is going to be corner. Sorry. Okay, as you can see. Just put it like that. Okay, now it's fine. After that, I will select the teapot, and if you, as you remember, we have several methods to create animation or to add a path constraint. One of them including here constraint, and we add a path constraint, or you can go to the motion and you assign controller by clicking the position and assigning a path constraint, whatever suits you, you can use. Okay, you see I added a path constraint, and it's already, you see that even if you don't turn this on, it's going to be animated. You just need here to click add path and select the path, and as you can see here, the object will be linked to the path automatically, and then it will move, as you can see here, without any issues. You can assign it, you can check the follow on, so the object will follow the path. You can also select the bank on, so the object will roll along the path. You see how it rolls? It will be more obvious in here from the perspective view. You see how it's rolling along the path. Of course, you can increase the amount of rolling, you can decrease it. you can check the constant velocity on or off. If you want it to be smooth animation, so slow out, slow in, you need to check this off. Otherwise, you need to check it on. You can keep loop and all these things. You can change the axis in which you are aligning your object to the path. Now, for our scenario, the x-axis is okay, it's good, working properly, and you can flip it if you want. So from here you can change the axis in which the object will be aligned to the path. You can set the follow path, apply or change the bank options, and you can change it also here. Of course, as we said before, you can have another spline and you add it, so you have the object aligned to two paths and you can change the weight between them. Okay, by default it's going to be distributed automatically evenly between them. Okay, so this is basically the path animation. If you change the path, of course the object will change automatically with it. First of all, what I'm going to do is I will go to my notepad, to the path here, and I will select this vertex and I will make it here. This is the make first, so I'm going to make this vertex the first one, so the object will move in the reverse in a reverse order. Okay, I can select this, as you can see, this subline, sorry, and then edit it. As you can see, click to select X and Y, and then I can just delete this if I want, and we can select from here Bezier corner to change this value only. So as you can see, I changed the path animation. I can also change it to be like this if you want, of course. Anyway, you can do whatever you want. I'm just trying to demonstrate that you can change it, although it's already linked to an object, and the object will adjust automatically to the path. As you can see, when you select the teapot here, okay, when you select the teapot, first of all I need to exit the sub-object mode to be able to select the teapot. You have the keyframes 0 to 100. I can change it into 50, in which it's going to make the object reaches its destination at keyframe 50. Of course, you can change it from here, or you can change it, as we will see, from the graph editors, whether it's a curve editor or a top sheet. Okay, so this is everything related to the path animation. As you can see here, we are giving a general overview because we already had several recordings about this, so we're not going into details. So now the last thing is we need to edit animation tangents using graph editor and curve editor. First of all, the difference between the graph editor and the top sheet. The top sheet, we display the animation keyframes as not dots, boxes, like you can see here. You see here we have several spheres. I can go to the filter and I will only display selected object. Okay, so you see I'm not going to select everything. I'm going to select only the teapot. You see, you go to the position, the percent has the animation, so I can just click here and select it and moving it to any point you want. You see, I can move it to 50, and I can change even the value of the percentage. It's not going to reach 100% of the path. It's going to reach around, let's say, 70% of the path. So let's see how this is going to affect the result. You see, first of all, there is no keyframe at the end, and it will move 50 frames, and it's going to reach only 70% of the path. Again, we go to the top sheet. So you can also select the keyframe, as you can see, as you will see now, and right click it to change the tangent options. If it is applicable here, you cannot change the tangent options for percentage. You can change it for the position, as we will see in a minute. So I will just click this and make sure to display I'm going to frame them all with the values. See here, this is the smooth sphere, transform, position. I have position X and Y. There is no animation along Z. Actually, there is animation only along X. There is no even animation along Y. Of course, always remember that as we will see in the... Okay, let's just wait for it until we go to the curve editor to talk about the X and Y axis. Here, when you select the the keyframe and you right click, you see you can change it. This is a linear keyframe and this is also a linear keyframe. And why it's a linear keyframe, not smooth? By default it will be smooth unless you change it like this, like I did from previous demonstration. I changed it to linear, but if you make it, which is by default spline, which is smooth, it's going to be smooth. When you change it, this is not going to change because this is going to affect the new keyframe that you're going to create later on. Okay, so what I will do is, first of all, I'm going to delete the path and the object. I don't need this. I don't need the path and the object to interfere with this animation. Now I will go to the curve editor to demonstrate the other points. We are going to go to the curve editor, like you can see here. The curve editor, it's different than the top sheet. The animation is not presented as dots. It is represented as curves. You see, this is linear. This is also linear. All of them are linear. We're going to change them in a minute. Okay, you need to keep in mind that values from left to right or horizontally or x-axis represents the time. So you see 0, 10 until 100. The values from bottom to top or top to bottom, or let's say in other words vertically along y-axis, represents the values. So you are changing, you see the x value from -160 to 160. This is the value. Okay, so now this is linear. I'm going to select the sphere. You see we have the x and y. If you frame them all, we have them let me just, yes, make sure that they are all obvious. Sorry, not obvious, visible. The x and y transformation for the linear, you see this is the z, y, and this is the z or z. They are flat, which means they have no animation. Only x, they have animation. So I'm gonna simply select both of those and delete them. I don't need them. Or you can keep them if you want, but basically you can just delete them, and you see I'm not gonna have a keyframe for y and z, only for x. So now what I'm gonna do, I will change this. This is called smooth, so I'm gonna change this to smooth. Okay, let me just move it to that side. I will just make it a bit smaller. Okay, I will select this and change it from here. It will be smooth, and I will change it from here, and it will be smooth as well. As you can see now, when you change it to smooth, you're gonna have this tangent visible, so you can now make it slow out and slow in. Okay, I'm gonna just move this to that location. Okay, and I'm gonna move this to this location here, as you can see. Now, if you close this, you're gonna notice the difference between the red and blue. When you play, see it slows out, slows down, slows out, slows in. Now let's just keep it like this one more time. We're gonna play. You see, this is linear, this is smooth animation. I'm gonna do other changes. Here is linear, so I'm gonna keep it. Now this is fast, this is slow. I'm gonna change this to fast. So we do this from the curve editor. Again, there is no x and z, sorry, there is no y and z, only x. So I'm going to select those two together and change it to fast. As you can see, it's going to be fast. And I'm going to go to the green, select those, and I'm going to change them to slow. Okay, and I'm going to select this purple, and I'm going to change it to not smooth, to stepped. Okay, which you see it's gonna hold until you reach the end, and it will change suddenly. So now when you move, you see this is linear, constant speed. This is fast, so it goes faster than others. This is slow, it goes slower than others. Similar to this, this is fast and slow on both sides. Okay, so it will go slow, and then it will increase, accelerate, and then it will decelerate. You can of course reverse this by manipulating the curves. You see here, no animation until you reach to the end. Okay, and okay, so these are the differences between tangents. Okay, so now This is what basically differentiate the different types, these things. Now how to break and unify tangents. Now let me, for example, just go here for this red, and I'm going to go at 50. Let me turn the auto key mode, sorry, and I'm going to just move it up to create a Y keyframe. You see, I created a Y keyframe. Now when you select this and go to the graph editor, curve editor, again I will just frame them all. You see you have X, Y, and Z. The X is the red and the Y and Z. You see this is the Y now. Okay, and when you move the tangents, we go to the move, yeah, it's already there. They move together. You can select this and break tangents. And when you do this, you click, sorry, so you see you are moving each side independently. If you want them to move with each other again, you need to select and unify tangents. You see it's gonna be unified again. Can I do the break without breaking, actually temporarily breaking? Yes, you can hold shift and move, and you are gonna move one side. When you remove when you let go, you're gonna break it like this. You see, so you can use the shift key, or you need to unify it one more time in order to be able to use them together. So now this is the unify and the break. What about the lock? Actually, let me now select position here, or X and Z, and as you can see now, I'm gonna select these two keyframes. I will just change them to linear, and then I will change them to Bezier. Even though they are both selected, when you move one tangent, the other will not move with it. So what if I want to move them all together at the same time? You need to lock them, okay? And then this time when you move, you see you can move them both together. So lock, they're not going to be locked with each other, but they can move, you can move them at the same time. So you do the same edit for both keyframes. I mean, this can be done for 2, 3, 4, any number of keyframes. So this is basically what we mean by break and unify and lock and show tangents. You might say, but we didn't show and hide tangents. From here you can show the tangents, hide them. So now they are hidden, you can show them, hide them as well. Okay, so just make sure when you apply for the exam, you make at least the minimum skills that you know are these. So you need to switch, you can switch between spline and step tangents. We already did this with that object here. Okay, we selected that. You can change to the spline here. You see, stepped and spline, and this is what we just do. Animation needs not a little bit of exercise. You need a lot of exercise. There are many other topics in animation. As you can see, this is full of options, but as we told you before, here we are trying to give you the skills needed to pass the Adobe certified user. Of course, there is Adobe certified professional, which requires more experienced working for users. So far, I hope this was clear. Thank you very much. Don't hesitate sending me your questions, if any. Have a nice day and see you next recording, inshallah.